know what it is. I'm not concerned about a team, which I've told you an hour ago, but I will tell you again because I know your short-term memory currently is struggling in your old age. I'm not concerned about a team that has won 23 of their last 24, a 96% winning percentage. I'm not concerned about a team that has a top 2 quarterback in football. I'm not concerned about a team that has the best receiving threats in football. I'm not concerned about a team that has a Super Bowl winning head coach plus Super Bowl management. I'm not concerned about these things. And I was looking because I don't let stats dictate my take. I make up my take in my opinion. I contrive that based off common sense and logic, and I hope that stats back that up. And every now and then, Marcellus, Wiley, all things fall into alignment. So I'll say this before I show you. The issue at hand is that the Chiefs just played down to their competition. I am not going to applaud them for that. I'm just going to tell y'all the fact. They play down to their competition, then they play up to their competition. That is why when you see them play against the Atlanta Falcons, you see them struggle, but then you see them play against the Buccaneers and they dominate. You might think I'm just talking. Let's look at the full screen.
Let's look.
I'm going to draw a contrast between the Chiefs and the Bills. Look on the left side. Playoff teams is a top column, non-playoff teams a bottom column. So wait a second. The Chiefs versus playoff teams have more points a game, marginally, but still more. The Chiefs versus playoff teams, they'll have more yards per game by 77. Now, again, that is outlandish. In theory, you shouldn't do better versus playoff teams than you do against non-playoff teams. What is the reason and how do I confirm that? Look on the right side, the Buffalo Bills, standard organization. Playoff teams, the Bills have 28 points per game. Non-playoff teams, 30 points per game. That makes sense. Versus playoff teams, the Bills have less yardage than they do against non-playoff teams. It's very simple. I don't need my full screen. Now I'm going to just talk to my people. It's very, very simple. The Chiefs aren't struggling right now. They just realize they have inferior competition, so they're going to expend less energy. I'm not concerned because they're actually just playing smarter than harder.
Interesting there, Acho. I learned more about you than the Chiefs because you said you don't make your takes based on statistics and you just let them, the statistics, hey, if you magnet to my take, then that's what it is. And that's why a lot of your takes don't make sense because they're not based in reality. They're not based on stats. And you know these stats are objective for a reason because they don't care about your takes. And you shouldn't care as well when you say senseless things, Acho.
Get to your point, Marcellus. I'm waiting for your point. You said a lot of nothing.
I said a lot of everything. I got a full screen right here. First, let's start here. The team that has a 10-game win streak named the Kansas City Chiefs are putting themselves in bad company for one reason. All of these teams that have went into the playoffs with 10-game win streaks, what's that right column talk about, Acho? One Super Bowl. No. You know why? Because all those teams play with fire like the Kansas City Chiefs do. You know why? Because they play down to their competition like the Kansas City Chiefs do. And the Kansas City Chiefs, as great as they are, as talented as they are, have been playing with fire because, as Acho has allowed them and afforded them, you know what? We are good enough to do that. Well, let me just show you right now on this full screen that the reality is not going to be a good one if you continue to play with that fire. That's one. See, me at my old age, I have experienced the wisdom to know that teams that go into the playoffs find themselves in bad situations if they didn't take care of their business and their psyche all the way through the regular season. Now let's talk about my real take, because I just want to give you some historical perspective right there. If you're the Kansas City Chiefs right now, I would not be shocked if this team, after the bye week, was one and done in the playoffs. And let me go even further than that and say, last year, I was shocked that the #1 seed Baltimore Ravens that had won 14 games was beating the playoffs. I was shocked. But this year, let's be real. Acho, I need to see your face on this. Let's be real. Are there some warning signs that the Chiefs potentially could find themselves in a bad situation and a losing effort in the playoffs? Last year, we saw them struggle through the playoffs, down 10, down 24, but prevail because they were the hunter. But now that they're the hunted and they're still playing with fire, how are you so confident that they will prevail in these same situations? History shows me that it's not going to end well for them, but I believe like you in their talent as well. The problem is we don't play. They actually are on the field believing in that same talent, drunk on their own talent, drunk on their own power. I hate to say this, man, but if the Chiefs were one and done in the playoffs, don't come up here yelling and screaming at me talking about your shot, because I already see it coming.
This one was tough for me. This one was tough for me. And I went back and forth, and I teeter-tottered, and I'm like, nah, man, I'm not concerned about the Chiefs. They're the Chiefs. But then I remembered, as Acho put me on the witness stand, and he asked me about that 15-1 year that we had. And then I reflected on the year previous where we won the Super Bowl and how hungry we were, and everything was on the road, and we just had that dogmatic mentality. It was different. We knew going into the playoffs, even as a 15-1 team, it just felt a little different. So for that, I am concerned about the Chiefs. And not so much because I don't believe that they can get it done, but because it looks a little different to us, and I guarantee it feels a lot different to them. Walking into these games, as Marcellus alluded to, they're playing, and you did as well, Acho, they're playing down to their opponent. And that's when you play with fire. And we all know you play with fire, you get burned. Even though you have a flamethrower, someone can catch you when you're trying to reload that flamethrower. And if they do, it's all over. And that's the thing about the playoffs. You only get one shot. And if you are off on any given Sunday in the playoffs, it's over. No one cares about your record anymore. No one cares about what you did the year before, because you are now the target. You're not really hunting. You're really trying to defend your territory. And it's a different type of mentality to be trying to defend your territory versus going and taking over a territory.
A lovely one. I love that.
You know what I don't love? I don't like when I'm in church and the pastor don't really say nothing good, but somebody say, yes, pastor, amen. Greg talking about nothing, and Marcellus
he was preaching.
He wasn't saying nothing. He wasn't saying nothing that needed no cosign.
What you gonna say then?
He don't need no cosign.
I believe it's nothing to you because you've not experienced that.
Oh, here he goes. My experience, my expertise.
Oh, now you gonna clown that? That's your favorite quote.
Oh, it's not now.
Oh, now it's not. See, he's stuck. You know what he's doing, America? Buying time. He has no more argument.
I don't need time for fire takes, Sal. Some things come out hot and ready. Gentlemen, first off, pull up Marcellus's full screen. Pull it up. Pull up
and wreck.
Pull up that nonsense. Marcellus has the audacity to say that teams who end the season on a 10-game win streak don't win the Super Bowl. That's the most nonsensical full screen I've seen in my life. If you're really good, that's a bad thing. Take it off before I get any dumber. Please. Please. Take that off before I get any dumber. The audacity of the better you are, the worse. I hate that nonsense. So, but let me push back on G real quick if I can.
I'm listening. You ain't push back on me.
Common sense tells us teams play worse against playoff teams. Buccaneers, prime example. Against playoff teams, Tom Brady, 1-4. Non-playoff teams, he's 9-1, something along those lines. Common sense tells us, oh, wait, when you get into the playoffs, you're not going to play as well. But the problem is the Kansas City Chiefs are uncommon. So you all are trying to use common sense for something that is not common. I'm telling y'all, the Chiefs actually play better against playoff teams. The Chiefs are about to enter into the playoffs and play teams in which they play better against. So I'm not going to try to use common sense to evaluate something that is not common. So I understand while you and Greg are both staying here, and Marcellus, I know you like low-hanging fruit. You don't like to do a lot of work oftentimes. I understand that you and Greg are both sitting here with the lazy, boring, plain takes right in front of you. But again, common sense can't be applied to a team that is not common.
What's so uncommon about the Chiefs? They won one Super Bowl. You already got them dynastic. They won one Super Bowl. What's so uncommon about that? We've seen it before. Are you going to win 2 in a row? We haven't seen that in almost 20 years. It's a conversation that they are common until they put themselves in some uncommon ground. Right now, I don't see them doing it. You are so caught up in making your take that's something that we accept that you didn't understand the gems that Greg was dropping. Greg just basically told you we were 10-6 and won a Super Bowl. Next year we were 15-1 and one and done. You know what's amazing about that?
What's that?
That he's talking about mindset. Like, you getting caught up on the outside, the exterior. Talent is the outside variable. You're talking about, the fact that our wins and losses. Because when you get in the